Welcome back to the British Accent Podcast, where we make English sound natural, useful, and part of your everyday life. I'm James, and today we're diving into a very important topic, speaking professional English in the workplace, especially in customer service situations.
And I'm Amelia. If you're working in retail, hospitality, tech support, healthcare, or really any job where you deal with clients or colleagues in English, this episode is for you. Clear, polite, and professional communication makes a huge difference in how you're perceived and how successful you are.
Let's start with one of the golden rules of workplace communication: be polite but direct. You want to sound professional, but also natural, not like you're reading from a textbook. For example, instead of saying, "What do you want?" you could say, "How can I help you today?" Or, "What can I do for you?"
Exactly. Tone is everything. Even simple words like please, thank you, and I'm sorry can change the entire mood of a conversation. Try saying, "I'm so sorry about that. Let me fix it for you right away," instead of just, "Okay, wait."
Let's go over some helpful phrases you can use with customers. Thank you for your patience. Let me double-check that for you. I understand how frustrating that must be. I'll get that sorted as quickly as possible. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
And if you're dealing with complaints, here are some polite ways to respond. "I'm really sorry to hear that. Let's see what we can do to resolve this. Thanks for bringing this to our attention. We'll make sure this doesn't happen again."
Now, in internal workplace communication, like emails to colleagues or meetings, you want to sound respectful, confident, and to the point. Avoid slang and casual phrases unless you know the tone of the team.
Here are a few formal, but friendly email lines. Just following up on my previous message. Please let me know if you need anything else. Looking forward to your feedback. I'd appreciate your input on this matter.
Also, don't underestimate the power of good listening. Sometimes, workplace miscommunication happens because people assume instead of asking. Try saying, "Could you clarify that for me?" Or, "Just to confirm, you mean," to show you're being careful and professional.
Another tip, mirror the language and tone your customer or colleague uses. If they are formal, you should be too. If they are friendly and casual, you can match that energy, but still keep it professional.
Pronunciation also matters. You don't need a native accent, but you do need to speak clearly. Stress the key words, slow down when giving important information, and avoid mumbling. It makes a huge difference.
We always say, communication is not just about speaking, it's about being understood. That's what makes English in the workplace so powerful. You're not just using language, you're building trust, solving problems, and showing confidence.
Let's talk about role-specific phrases. For example, if you are in a call center, phrases like, "May I place you on a brief hold? Thank you for holding," are very useful. They are polite and professional and help manage the customer's expectations.
If you work in hospitality, like a hotel or restaurant, phrases such as "Welcome," "How may I assist you today?" or "Let me take care of that for you right away," can really elevate the guest experience. It's not just about the service, it's about how the service feels to the customer.
In retail or face-to-face customer support, you might use things like, "We really appreciate your business. Let me check in the back for you. That item is currently out of stock, but we expect it soon. You're absolutely right, thank you for pointing that out."
And don't forget body language. Even though we're focusing on spoken English, your posture, eye contact, and facial expressions communicate just as much as your words. Especially in customer service, a calm and open posture can make the customer feel safe and respected.
Also, try to avoid overly casual fillers like, like, or, in professional settings. Instead, take a short pause if you need time to think. Silence is better than sounding unsure.
Let's also mention teamwork. If you're collaborating with colleagues, saying things like, "Let's figure this out together," or I really appreciate your help fosters a good team environment. English communication in the workplace is not just about instructions, it's about relationships.
Right, and even if you're still learning English, don't be afraid to ask for clarification. Phrases like, "Could you repeat that, please?" or "Sorry, I didn't catch that, could you say it again?" show you care about understanding, and that's actually a strength, not a weakness.
Now let's imagine a mini dialogue to put all of this into context. Let's say a customer is calling in because their online order hasn't arrived.
"Hi, I placed an order last week and I still haven't received it. Can you help me check the status?"
Of course, I'd be happy to help. Could you please provide me with your order number?
Sure, it's number 54782.
Thank you. Let me take a moment to check that for you. Brief pause. It looks like your order is in transit and should arrive by tomorrow. I'm really sorry for the delay. It's taking a bit longer than usual due to high demand.
Okay, thanks for letting me know.
You're welcome. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
No, that's all. Thanks.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
So smooth, right? It's not about using complex vocabulary, it's about being clear, polite, and professional.
Exactly. And consistency is key. The more you practice these kinds of exchanges, either in real life or through role plays, the more natural they become. If you're working in an English-speaking environment, or even just preparing for one, rehearse those key phrases until they feel automatic.
Also, if your job involves handling complaints or difficult customers, that's a whole other skill set. You need to stay calm, acknowledge the issue, and reassure the customer. For example, "I understand how frustrating this must be. Let me see what I can do to resolve this for you. Thank you for bringing this to our attention."
Right. Acknowledgement and empathy are powerful tools in communication. Even just saying, "I'm really sorry to hear that," makes the customer feel heard. You don't need to solve the problem immediately to start building trust, you just need to listen with care.
And don't forget about follow-ups. After helping someone, you can say, "If you have any other questions, feel free to contact us again. We'll send you a confirmation email shortly. Thank you for your patience."
Another tip is to mirror the customer's language style a little, but always stay professional. If they are formal, stay formal. If they are relaxed but polite, you can match that tone. It makes the interaction feel more personal.
Let's also touch on communication tools. If your work involves emails, using proper structure is essential. Start with a greeting like, "Dear Mr. Smith," or "Hello Maria." Include a clear purpose and close with something like, "Best regards," or "Sincerely."
And when chatting through apps like Slack or Teams, it's okay to be a bit more informal, but still respectful. Emojis can add friendliness, but use them sparingly in a professional setting.
Exactly. And keep messages concise. Don't overwhelm your reader with long paragraphs. Break things up so it's easy to read and act on.
Also, time zones matter. If you're working with international teams, phrases like, "Let me know your availability in your time zone," or "I'm happy to adjust to a time that works for you," are helpful and considerate.
That's such a good point. Communication isn't just about what you say, it's about how you make others feel. And in the workplace, feeling respected and understood goes a long way.
So whether you're answering phones, replying to emails, or chatting with your manager, professional English isn't about using big words, it's about clarity, tone, and connection.
Absolutely. And one powerful yet simple habit is confirming what the other person said to avoid miscommunication. Something like, "Just to confirm, you'd like the delivery scheduled for Friday, correct?" That one sentence shows attentiveness and eliminates confusion.
Yes. And it also reassures the other person that you're listening. Another great technique is summarizing the next steps at the end of a conversation. You could say, "So, just to recap, I'll email you the report by this afternoon, and we'll schedule the meeting for next Tuesday at 10 a.m. This keeps everyone on the same page.
That kind of follow-through is what sets a good communicator apart in a workplace. It builds credibility and trust. And for those who aren't confident in their English yet, preparing these kinds of phrases in advance can make a big difference.
Definitely. You can even write down templates for common situations, like how to respond to a complaint, how to make a request politely, or how to ask for clarification. Practice them until they are second nature. Eventually, your fluency will come not just from grammar rules, but from real communication patterns.
And one more thing, don't be afraid to ask for clarification yourself. Saying, "Could you please repeat that?" or "I'm not sure I understood, could you explain that part again?" doesn't make you sound weak. It shows you care about accuracy, which is highly professional.
Exactly. In fact, most employers and co-workers appreciate it when you ask questions. It shows you're engaged. And that's what professional communication is all about: listening actively, responding clearly, and creating a collaborative space where everyone understands one another.
You know, Amelia, we often underestimate the value of tone in customer service and workplace English too. It's not just what you say, but how you say it. For example, a simple phrase like, "I'll look into it," can sound either helpful or dismissive, depending on your tone.
Oh, totally agree. That's why practicing with real conversations, or even listening to call center recordings in English, can help learners pick up the right intonation. When you combine the right words with the right tone, it creates empathy, and that's essential in any customer-facing role.
Exactly. And for learners, it can be useful to shadow native speakers. Pick a short conversation from a movie or podcast, then repeat it aloud until you match the rhythm, pauses, and emphasis. It's like vocal muscle memory. It trains your ears and mouth at the same time.
Such a great tip. Also, let's not forget about cultural phrases that pop up in workplaces. In English-speaking cultures, you might hear phrases like "let's touch base," "keep me in the loop," or "I'll circle back on that." These aren't literal, so it's helpful to learn what they mean in context.
Right. And they can feel confusing at first, but once you learn a few of these expressions, you'll feel a lot more natural in meetings or emails. A phrase like, "just checking in," isn't about showing up, it means following up politely. These small details make communication smoother.
And when you're writing emails or messages at work, always aim for clarity and kindness. Even a short message like, "Thanks for your patience," can make a big difference in tone. Or, "Please let me know if you have any questions." It shows professionalism and approachability.
Great point. And for non-native speakers, building a habit of reviewing their workplace messages, even with a tool or language buddy, can help catch errors and improve over time. Communication is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice and intention.
Yes, and let's also highlight how important active listening is in workplace communication. Many times, people focus so much on what they are going to say next that they forget to truly listen. But in customer service or team discussions, listening carefully is just as important as speaking well.
So true. And showing that you're listening can be as simple as repeating part of what the other person said. For instance, if a customer says, "I didn't receive my package," you can respond with, "I understand you didn't receive your package. Let me check that for you." It confirms their concern and builds trust.
Exactly, it shows empathy. And even if you don't know the answer right away, saying something like, "Let me find out and get back to you as soon as possible," is way better than going silent or guessing. Being honest and responsive is key.
And in team communication, it helps to ask open-ended questions like, "What do you think about this approach?" or "Do you have any suggestions?" This creates space for others to speak and makes you look like a collaborative team player.
That's a huge plus. And if you ever make a mistake, don't panic. Apologize sincerely and take responsibility. A simple, "I'm sorry for the confusion, let me fix that," goes a long way. In English-speaking work cultures, accountability is respected.
Yep, mistakes happen, and how you handle them matters. Also, one last thing, confidence doesn't mean using big words. It means speaking clearly and kindly. Even if your English is simple, if it's respectful and well-structured, people will trust you.
That's the heart of professional communication. It's not about being perfect, it's about being thoughtful, attentive, and reliable in how you speak and respond.
And let's not forget tone of voice, especially in customer service. You could be saying the right words, but if your tone sounds irritated or rushed, it changes the whole message. A warm, calm tone can make even a difficult situation feel manageable.
Absolutely. Even a phrase like, "I'll look into that for you," can either sound helpful or dismissive depending on your tone. It's why practicing with role plays, or even recording yourself, can be really useful to hear how you actually sound.
And if you're speaking English as a second language, don't worry if you have an accent. Clear pronunciation and using the right expressions matter more than sounding like a native. Most workplaces are multicultural anyway. What's important is that your message is understood.
That's such an important point. And a great way to improve workplace communication is to learn the typical phrases used in your field. For example, if you work in hospitality, you'll want to know phrases like, "Would you like me to assist you with that?" or "Your satisfaction is our priority."
Yes. And for office settings, you'll often hear phrases like, "Let's touch base," which means to check in or follow up, or "I'll loop you in," meaning they'll keep you updated. These idioms can be confusing at first, but once you're familiar with them, they become second nature.
And if you ever feel unsure in the moment, don't hesitate to ask for clarification. You can say, "Just to make sure I understand you're saying." That shows you care about accuracy and are actively participating in the conversation.
Exactly. It's all about communication that's not only professional but also human. That's what really makes a difference in customer service and workplace interactions, being respectful, clear, and approachable.
Couldn't agree more. Whether it's helping a customer or discussing a project with your manager, every interaction is a chance to build your confidence and your English skills at the same time.
Another thing that helps a lot is using positive language, even when delivering bad news. For instance, instead of saying, "We can't do that," try saying, "Here's what we can do." It keeps the conversation constructive and shows that you're focused on finding a solution.
That's such a smart strategy. It makes the customer or co-worker feel heard and supported. And sometimes, just changing the structure of your sentence helps too. Like instead of, "You didn't submit the form," you can say, "It looks like the form wasn't submitted yet." It takes away the blame and focuses on action.
Exactly. And if you're in a high-pressure environment, like call centers, hotels, or healthcare, having a few go-to phrases can really reduce stress. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. You can memorize useful expressions and adapt them to different situations.
Here are a few more examples. "Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Let me confirm that for you. I understand how that could be frustrating. We're doing our best to resolve this as quickly as possible."
Yes, and using names when speaking to people also adds a nice personal touch. Saying, "Thank you, Mr. Garcia," or "I appreciate your patience, Sarah," shows attentiveness and respect. Just make sure you pronounce their names correctly, or ask if you're unsure.
Right, and in team settings, showing appreciation is just as important as giving feedback. Simple phrases like "Great work on that presentation," or "Thanks for handling that issue so quickly," go a long way. Encouraging language builds better relationships and smoother collaboration.
It's true. And over time, when you practice these expressions regularly, your English doesn't just improve, you also develop a more confident and professional communication style. It becomes second nature.
And that's what makes the biggest difference, honestly. It's not just about speaking correct English, it's about sounding confident, calm, and polite, especially in tough situations. That's something that impresses not just customers, but managers and colleagues too.
Totally agree. And if you're new to a workplace or still learning English, don't worry about getting every word perfect. What matters more is being clear, respectful, and showing that you're trying. People notice that effort. And they usually respond positively.
Yes. And one last thing. Don't forget to listen actively. In customer service or workplace settings, listening is just as important as speaking. Nod, make eye contact if it's in person, say things like I see, got it, or just to clarify, you mean. That shows engagement and avoids misunderstandings.
Exactly. Because real communication isn't just about words, it's about connection. When you combine good language with empathy and patience, that's when your English really becomes powerful at work.
Well said. And to everyone listening, if you're practicing English for your job, keep going. The more you use it in real situations, the easier and more natural it becomes. You've got this.
Let's talk a bit about handling complaints or difficult situations. That's where a lot of learners feel nervous, but honestly, there are simple strategies that work. One useful phrase is, I understand your concern, let me check on that for you. It shows empathy and gives you time to think.
Yes. And instead of saying, I don't know, which can feel like a dead end, try saying, let me find out for you, or I'll ask my manager and get back to you. That's more professional, and it keeps the conversation moving in a positive direction.
Another thing, tone really matters. In English, how you say something often matters more than the exact words. So keep your voice steady and polite, even if the person is upset. You can say things like, I completely understand your frustration, to acknowledge their feelings without getting defensive.
Exactly. It's all about staying calm and using softeners. Like instead of saying, you're wrong, say I think there might be a misunderstanding, or let me explain it a different way. It keeps things professional and respectful.
And this applies not just to customer service, but even when talking with your boss or co-workers. Like if you need help, don't be afraid to say, could you please explain that again, or, just to make sure I understand. It shows responsibility and attention to detail.
Those small habits really build trust. And when your colleagues see that you're putting in the effort to speak clearly, respond politely, and communicate thoughtfully, they'll respect that. Whether your English is perfect or not, your attitude will speak volumes.
Another big one in workplace English is offering help. It's not just about waiting to be asked. If you see someone who needs assistance or if you're wrapping up a task and want to support the team, phrases like, would you like a hand with that? Or, is there anything I can help you with, go a long way.
Totally agree. It's those proactive, polite expressions that make you sound both helpful and professional. And if someone thanks you, it's not just you're welcome, you can also say no problem, anytime, or even glad I could help. Those little things help your speech sound more natural.
Also, small talk at work plays a bigger role than most people realize. Saying, how was your weekend, or, did you see the game last night? These casual conversations help build relationships. You don't have to get too personal. Just being friendly makes collaboration easier.
Exactly. And it shows cultural awareness too. In many English-speaking workplaces, especially in the UK or the US, small talk is part of building team dynamics. Even just commenting on the weather like, it's really chilly today, isn't it, can break the ice.
And one last tip, email communication. A lot of workplace English happens through email, and it's important to be clear and polite. Starting with, I hope you're doing well, or, just following up on our previous conversation, and ending with, best regards, or, kindly let me know if you need anything else.
Yes. Writing clearly, using bullet points for lists, and avoiding slang in emails makes a big difference. Even using tools like spell check or Grammarly can help non-native speakers feel more confident before hitting send.
So whether you're taking calls, greeting customers, joining meetings, or writing emails, remember, you don't have to sound perfect. You just have to sound professional, polite, and clear. That's the real goal in workplace English.
Well, that wraps up today's episode. We hope these tips help you feel more confident using English in your workplace, whether you're talking to a customer, emailing a colleague, or just making small talk in the office kitchen.
Exactly. And remember, professional communication isn't about using fancy words, it's about being clear, respectful, and friendly. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes.
Thanks for tuning in to the British Accent Podcast. If you found this helpful, don't forget to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you know someone who's working in an English-speaking environment, share this with them too.
We'd love to hear your questions or even your own workplace English stories. Reach out to us on social media or leave us a message. Your input could be featured in a future episode.
Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep growing.
Cheers, everyone, and stay confident out there.